My wife spent 30 years sacrificing everything for our son. She worked double shifts, skipped vacations, and sold her jewelry to help pay for his future. But on the happiest day of his life, she was humiliated in front of 400 wedding guests. My daughter-in-law slapped her across the face and shouted for everyone to hear, "Get out of here, old woman. Nobody wants you here." What hurt even more was what happened next. My own son stood there and said absolutely nothing. But neither of them knew that one phone call was about to change everything. And before that wedding reception ended, the entire room would learn a secret that neither the bride nor the groom wanted anyone to know. My name is Robert, and until that day, I believed my family was unbreakable. My wife Linda and I spent most of our lives building a future for our only son, Jason. We were not wealthy people. We worked hard, saved every dollar we could, and sacrificed countless comforts so our son could have opportunities we never had. Every achievement in his life felt like a victory for our entire family. When Jason announced his engagement to Emily, we were genuinely happy for him. We welcomed her into our home and treated her like our own daughter. At least, that was what we thought family meant. As the wedding approached, things slowly began to change. Emily became increasingly controlling. She criticized Linda for everything, from the way she dressed to the advice she offered. At first, we ignored it because we did not want to create conflict before the wedding. Jason always defended Emily by saying she was stressed and overwhelmed. Linda remained kind and patient, even when she was treated unfairly. She wanted nothing more than to see her son happy. Unfortunately, her kindness was mistaken for weakness. The wedding day arrived at a luxurious venue filled with hundreds of guests. The decorations were breathtaking, and everyone seemed excited about the celebration. Linda wore a simple but elegant dress and carried herself with quiet pride. She had tears in her eyes as she watched our son prepare for the biggest moment of his life. For a brief moment, it felt like every sacrifice we had ever made was finally worth it. Then everything changed. Just before the ceremony began, Linda approached Emily to offer a heartfelt gift. It was a family heirloom necklace that had belonged to her grandmother. Linda thought it would symbolize acceptance and unity between generations. Instead of thanking her, Emily looked disgusted. She loudly accused Linda of trying to steal attention from the bride. Before anyone could react, Emily slapped Linda across the face. The sound echoed through the room. Guests froze in shock. Then Emily pointed toward the exit and shouted that nobody wanted an old woman ruining her wedding. The room became painfully silent. My wife stood there humiliated, holding back tears while hundreds of eyes stared at her. I turned toward Jason expecting him to defend his mother. Instead, he lowered his head and remained silent. Not a single word came out of his mouth. That silence hurt more than the slap itself. Linda quietly stepped away, trying to maintain her dignity, while whispers spread throughout the venue. Many guests looked uncomfortable, but nobody wanted to interfere. As I followed Linda outside, she finally broke down in tears. She kept asking what she had done wrong. I had no answer. Years of love and sacrifice seemed forgotten in a matter of seconds. While trying to comfort her, my phone rang. The caller was Michael, an attorney and longtime family friend. Earlier that week, he had been reviewing important documents related to a family business investment that Jason and Emily knew nothing about. I answered the call, not realizing it would become the turning point of the entire day. Michael informed me that new information had just been discovered. A private investigator hired during a routine business verification process had uncovered evidence that Emily had been secretly manipulating financial records and encouraging Jason to pressure us into transferring ownership of valuable assets after the wedding. Their plan was to gain access to properties and investment accounts worth millions of dollars. The evidence included emails, messages, and signed documents. Suddenly, Emily's behavior made perfect sense. I asked Michael to send everything immediately. Within minutes, my phone filled with documents, screenshots, and reports. As I reviewed the evidence, my disappointment turned into determination. Linda deserved justice, and the truth deserved to be exposed. Instead of leaving the venue, I walked back inside. The reception had already begun. Guests were laughing, eating, and celebrating, completely unaware of the storm that was about to arrive. When the time came for family speeches, I calmly approached the microphone. Emily smiled confidently while Jason appeared relieved that the earlier incident had passed. I began by speaking about family, sacrifice, and respect. The room listened attentively. Then I revealed the truth. Using a large screen prepared for wedding photos, I displayed the evidence Michael had sent. Gasps filled the ballroom. Guests watched as emails, financial plans, and messages appeared one after another. The atmosphere changed instantly. Emily's face turned pale. Jason looked completely stunned. It became clear that while Jason had participated in some discussions, he had never seen the full extent of Emily's plans. Several business partners attending the wedding confirmed the authenticity of the documents. Questions erupted from every direction. Emily tried to deny everything, but the evidence was overwhelming. The confident smiles that had dominated the reception vanished within minutes. People who had admired the couple moments earlier now viewed them with suspicion. The situation reached its peak when Emily's own father stood up and demanded answers. He had no knowledge of her actions and was visibly horrified. One by one, supporters began distancing themselves from her. Jason finally confronted Emily publicly, asking whether any part of their relationship had been genuine. She could not provide a convincing answer. The celebration collapsed into chaos as guests realized they had witnessed something far more dramatic than a wedding. Eventually, Emily left the venue in tears. Jason remained behind, emotionally devastated and struggling to process everything he had learned. For the first time that day, he approached Linda. With tears in his eyes, he apologized for failing to protect her when she needed him most. Linda listened quietly. She did not yell or seek revenge. Instead, she reminded him that respect and loyalty must never be sacrificed for convenience or fear. Her forgiveness became the most powerful lesson of all. Months later, Jason ended the relationship permanently and worked hard to rebuild trust with our family. The road was not easy, but it taught him the value of integrity and courage. Looking back, I realized that karma does not always arrive immediately. Sometimes it waits for the perfect moment. On the day my wife was humiliated before 400 guests, it seemed like evil had won. But one phone call changed everything and revealed the truth hidden behind beautiful smiles and expensive decorations. The slap lasted only a second. The humiliation lasted only a few minutes. But the truth lasted forever. The woman who tried to throw my wife out of the wedding lost everything she was secretly trying to gain. And my son learned a lesson he would never forget. Never stay silent when someone disrespects the people who sacrificed everything for you. Because karma may be slow, but it never forgets an address.